Hello dear, a warm welcome to you to English Needs channel. In this video, I am going to take up the poem Water written by Chalapalli Swaroopa Rani for line by line explanation. This poem can be divided into three parts for our convenience. In the first part, water is made the witness to the age-old strife, ill-treatment meted to the Dalits or the untouchables, the discrimination and the struggle against the upper caste people in order to get parity or equality. In the second part, the poet herself gives her own experience as a Dalit girl. In the third part, the poetess deals with the characteristics of water. Water is made the central figure here, not as a witness, and the true extreme qualities are the characteristics of water is dealt with. That is its weakness as well as its strength. So now let me go through the lines and explain you all about it. Link to the part 2 of this video is given at the end of the video. Just as the water knows the ground's incline, it knows the generations of old strife between the village and the wada. Here the first line is an example and the next line is the statement. As the water knows its incline means water knows where to flow. It always flows towards the inclination. It is a universal truth. In the same way, there is a strife, there is a struggle, there is a fight between the upper caste people and the downtrodden. A village stands for the upper caste people here, and Wada is a designated place where only the untouchables live. So she says there has been a continuous struggle for equality. The Dalits have been struggling to get equality, and here water is the witness for it. Like the dampness of the well's edge that never dries, it knows that untouchability never disappears. Here we find a note of hopelessness, a pessimistic view. The poet says that untouchability is such a thing that it will never disappear from the Indian society. The example she quotes is the dampness of the well's edge. The continuous drawing of the water from a well makes the well's edge always wet. That means this also is a universal truth. In the same way, untouchability is a reality, ugly reality rather, that will never disappear from this society. Here we can see the note of hopelessness and pessimism. The water knows everything. It knows the difference of race between the Samaria woman and the Jesus the Jew. Here she has taken two entities, Samaria woman and Jesus the Jew. During Jesus' time, Jesus was discriminated and he was ill-treated by the majority of the people. That is, there we can say the upper caste. Samaria woman is an example for it. So there has been a struggle between these people at that time also. Same thing is continuing, she says. It also knows the subcaste difference between leather and spool as far as the poetic quality is concerned. A beautiful sentence, I can say. Here leather and spools represent something else. Leather represents cobbler and spool represents a weaver. Here in this line, the poetess is telling that there exists a difference even in a caste, that is subcaste difference. Our society is so very divided. We make subcastes and we discriminate the people on that basis. It knows the agony of the Panchama who, not having the right to draw a pot of water, waits all day near the well with his empty pot until a Shudra arrives. In this stanza, the poetess focuses on the problem faced by the Dalits. Dalits are not supposed to touch the well. The people from all other castes could come and draw the water from the well, but the untouchables were not allowed to draw the water. The Dalits had to literally beg for a pot of water. So therefore, they used to stand in the queue just little away from the well and wait for someone to give water for them. It knows the humiliation of the Vada girl when he who poured the water from a distance falls all over and touches her. Here another incident she is taking. A young untouchable girl is thirsty. She begs for water. A young man from the upper caste pours water from the distance, that is from a height, into her palms. Because of the height, the water is spilt over her body. In the pretext of giving her drinking water, he drenches her. You can imagine the humiliation of this girl. You can see how dirty idea it was, and you can definitely imagine how much painful it would have been and how much it was humiliating for that Dalit girl. It knows the righteous rage of Kamarchedu Suvarthamma, who opposed the Kamma landlords with her water pot when they asked her not to pollute the pond water. In this stanza, we see the Suvarthamma's righteous rage. That means she becomes angry, but that anger was right. Her anger was justified. The incident was like this. Once in Madhikapalle, two boys belonging to the upper caste went to the water tank and were washing dirty bucket in the pond from which the Dalits were drawing water for drinking purpose. And a boy from Dalit community happened to go there at that time, and he requested the boys not to pollute the water by washing their dirty buckets. It was right. He was right. But just because the boys belonged to the upper caste, they did not tolerate a Dalit telling something against them, because they were of the opinion that whatever they do is valid. When these upper caste boys were about to beat the Dalit boy, Suvarthamma happened to come there, and she raised her pot in self-defense to protect the boy. But just raising of the pot was seen as the aggression, and these boys twisted this incident, and the message went to the majority community that Suvarthamma was beating the upper caste boys, and this led to a ghastly attack on the Dalit community, and the 6 people were killed. This shows, though Dalits were right and their protest was right, but still that was not tolerated. This shows how Dalit community was ill treated. They had to pay the heavy price for none of their mistakes. It was none of their mistakes. The water is witness to centuries of social injustice. Again, she is reiterating that water has seen all these things because water is omnipresent. It can see what happens everywhere. When I see water, I remember how my Vada, which would thirst at all day for a glass of water. Now, from here, the second part starts. Here, the poetess is giving her own experience. Now, she says, they used to be thirsty all through the day and they were not getting a glass of water. That was the condition. It's not that water was not available there, it was there, but it was under the control of the dominant communities. For us, water is not simply H2O. For us, water is a mighty movement. Here she says that it is not a simple thing. Water is not a simple thing for them. Water has been the means of struggle. Water is only a pretext, you can say. The main thing is the discrimination. The main thing is the struggle against the discrimination, the struggle for equality and parity. It is the Mahad struggle at the Chadar tank. Mahad struggle at Chadar tank has been considered as one of the greatest struggles of the Dalits against the upper caste people. Lot many lives were lost during this movement. A single drop of water embodies tears shed over several generations. Here you can see how painfully she is expressing herself. She says, every drop of water contains their tears shed over the generations. In the many battles we fought for a single drop of water, our blood flowed like streams. She says that they have been struggling for this water. Water here is again only a pretext. It was equality. The struggle or the strife or the battle has not been smooth one, has not been an ordinary one. It took lives. But we never managed to win even a small puddle of water. Here, puddle of water means a small body of water like this. But it is not that she wants to say. Puddle of water here stands for a small success, a small achievement, a little equality, a small consideration that they are also human beings. Here again we see the pessimism. She says, despite these battles, despite so many struggles, so many movements, they have not been able to get what they wanted. Even now also the discrimination exists. Hardly any change has taken place from then and now. When I see water, I remember how we welcomed our weekly bath as if it was a wondrous festival. When the Dalits face the problem for drinking water, you can think of water for other purposes. They had to store a little water for a week, and after that they used to take bath once in a week, she says. Think of this condition in summer. Though it is painful, but more painful is that when someone very near to you, someone who is staying by the side of you, takes bath twice a day, not once in a day, twice a day he takes bath, that means there is sufficient water. There is no dearth of water. There is no problem for water. Problem is the caste. Problem is the ill treatment. Problem is the discrimination. So it pains you more when someone enjoys at the cost of you. That pain is more. If everybody was in a same condition, if everybody was taking bath once in a week, then the problem might not have been painful. But the problem is now painful because somebody else is taking bath twice a day conveniently, and you are made to take bath once in a week. This discrimination only pains. When I see water, I remember my childhood when we walked miles to reach the big canal and carried back heavy pots with the muscles and veins on our necks straining, bursting. Another experience, when the Dalits were not allowed to draw the water from the village well, they were forced either to wait long hours near the well or walk and fetch the water from the main canal. They used to walk miles in order to fetch the water, and keeping the heavy pots on their head used to strain their neck muscles. They used to get pain in their neck, long walks with the heavy pots, just because they were Dalits. I remember its thatched roofs aflame, the malapalle burning to ashes for want of a pot of water. Another heart-rending, inhuman incident. When the huts at Malapalle village were burning, if the upper caste people had a little humanity, they could have spared a bucket each from one family. The incident of burning of those huts would have been stopped. They wanted little water so that they could extinguish the fire. Just because they did not get the help from the upper caste people, all those huts were burned to ashes. It's not that water was not there. Water was there. But the lack of humanity in the upper caste people made all the difference. For the Kannada explanation of this poem, go to my other channel, Vijayendra Kshatriya. As the video is going to be too lengthy, therefore I am stopping it here, and the next part of the poem will be dealt with in the next video. Here is a link for that second part. For writing the answers, you need the write-up. You can find the summary of this poem in my another channel. Type Vijayendra Kshatriya in YouTube search window. You will get my channel. Touch the photo and go to the playlist. Touch playlist. There are two playlists for second PUC students. You can select them